Welcome to the fourth episode of the Amped Surfer. Thanks for dropping in, everyone. I appreciate you being here and sticking with me. The very astute people out there, possibly the surf community, will notice that the board is back. The 6.6 I had made by Spider, which was aimed at giving me slightly less length because of my gammy leg. I had a 6'10" Well, I've got a 6'10" and I wanted something with a little less length and slightly less volume and more performance. So this is what he created. I've spoken about it before, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, here it is. What's super exciting is it's got wax on it and a tail pad, and it's got some fins and a leash attached. So yeah, I surfed it pretty good. Well, the board's pretty good. I failed a little bit, but although I didn't. So let's unpack that. Yeah, that's quite funny. So yeah, fourth edition Amp Surfer. Let's go. A few weeks ago, I had an appointment up in Barnstable where I had to see the surgeon who did my stomach operation. So he was the fellow that did the stomach operation during my accident, I think, where they cut me from right up here to all the way down to the very as far as they could go, and opened me up, and they fixed up my bowels and sternum and spleen and all of those things, and cleaned it up, hooked it up, fixed it up, and sewed me back together again. Unfortunately, I grew a really massive hernia as a result of some of the stuff not completely fixing up. So they had to operate on me again. I think that's when I went up to Barnstable, and I got operated on again, and they removed the hernia and tidied up the scar, and that was literally a brand new cut from here to here. And they did that December 20th last year, so almost a year ago, and they let me out on the 23rd of December for Christmas, which was really cool. Yeah, anyway, that's it. I think we've heard about that. Anyway, so I had to go to Barnstable about a few weeks ago to see that surgeon, and for him to look at it and go, "Oh yeah, sweet as bro, you're okay now. We're gonna sign you off and discharge you from their services." So that's what I did, and I took the opportunity to go to Barnstable via Wollacombe, and my mate lives there, Ben, and he's an awesome character, man. He's on fire for God. He like, oh, he's helped run churches. He's been a Church of England minister for weather and cool stuff. I don't know. You'd have to speak to him. His name's Ben Lilly. Check him out. But he's the head of Christian Surfers UK, which is really cool. I knew him from a church setting, not a Christian Surfer setting, but it just happens to be that he's a cool guy, and he lives at Wollacombe in, I think it shivers. I want to say it's North Cornwall, probably Devon. I'm unsure of that. We're going to stick an edit in there. I don't really care. Work it out for yourselves. I'll take the shame. It's either jammed first or it's not. You guys work it out. So anyway, I figured I could get to his place, have a surf in the morning, and because it's a reef and it's super nice, and the swell was perfect and the wind was perfect, and then I'd go to my appointment, and that's what I did. I pitched up at his place, but I didn't take out this board because I wasn't sure about it straight away. So I took out my 610, and it was my first surf since my hip operation. So I was pretty dubious as to how it would go, but super excited to be in the water after 4 months, out of the water. So, there was so much going on, there's excitement, there was me being a bit reserved and how's this going to go, and I could barely get my leg from lying down, this being my front leg and this being the hip that they did. I could barely get it from lying down through to that front foot position as it was. And I just thought to myself, well, if I'm on a wave and the board's pointing down as it does when you paddle in, then hopefully gravity would do its thing and it would push me into position. And that was the hope. So we paddled out. Ben caught a screaming right-hander, and he was on a mid-length board, maybe a long board, and he was just flowing. Oh man, it was beautiful to see. And my turn came, and I paddled for a wave, and I went to stand up, muscle memory, bring my leg through, and nothing happened, and I just collapsed and just got nailed. Popped up, and I was like, oh man. So I paddled back out, and Ben's like, oh, what happened, bro? And I'm like, just couldn't make it work. I said, I nearly got my leg through to where it needed to be, but I just couldn't get it far enough forward and to the center on the stringer. And so it all went a bit sideways and not quite right, and I caught a rail, and it just threw me over. So I watched him catch a few more waves, and I gathered myself, and I'm just out there going, oh, come on, man. Right, okay. So what you need to do is think, surf and think at the same time generally isn't something I do. Generally, when I'm surfing, my mind goes into flatline, it's just me and the waves. Say hi to your mates and stuff, but generally I'm not thinking about much out there, to be honest. And so to think about how I'm gonna get this move sorted out so I don't fall off was taking a bit of effort. So the next wave comes, and I paddle, and it's quite a nice wave, to be fair. Yeah, to be fair, it's only shoulder high, so it's not real waves of consequence or anything like that. So I paddled in, it was a right-hander, paddled it in, and I'm thinking, right, when you go to stand up, really make an effort to bring that leg through and get it planted, and I did. And I tell you what, I was going down the wave, and the board I was on's the 610-20. I think I had a little center trailing fin in it, little MR, micro fin, just for that. Anyway, and so off I went, and I just cruised up and down. I got a little top turn, a little off the top, a little cuddy, back into the white water, back around, and I think I got another little off the top floater, and then kicked out. And it was amazing, and I was just hooting, man. I was just so happy, and I kind of paddled out. Your body gets full of that adrenaline, and you paddle out like there's no tomorrow, and you get out there, and you're just buzzing. And Ben's like, I saw that wave, Craig, mate. I saw it. How was it? And I'm just like, woo. So I was amping about it, and I was super stoked. And then I'm frothing, and I'm kind of going, oh man, I want another one, right? And if you remember back to the last episode, that kind of that waiting period that I spoke about, and how you want to control the situation, well, guess what? The waves kept coming. There's no doubt about that. The waves kept coming. Ben kept catching them, and every wave I paddled for after that, I could not get my foot in the right position, or my hip just wouldn't work. It just felt like it didn't have the strength. It wasn't operating as I wanted it to. So it was really frustrating. And I have to say, I got a bit grumpy about it, and that yeah, that control that I spoke about last time from the waiting period, that whole control thing that turned into not so much control, but just disappointment. And and I'd caught this amazing wave first time in 4 months, and it was a cracker. It wasn't just a kooky like take in, drop in, get a bottom turn and fall off. I got 3, 4 turns, cutty and floaters, and I kicked out. So that was a wave to be super happy about. Except I was sitting out there getting a grump on, just getting grumpy that I couldn't get another one, and it was hurting, and then my foot was hurting, and then because my ankle doesn't move very well, my toes don't move, I caught my toes as I went to stand up. My toes rolled underneath my foot, and so I went to, before I'd even stood up, I put weight on it, and the pain's phenomenal, and it's just like, oh nah, this is not cool, man. I don't like it. And then I thought, well, actually, I haven't got time now. I've got to get out and get myself to Barnstable to see this surgeon guy. And I got out of the water, and me and Ben kind of got out at the same time, and he was amped, He was like, oh, man, Craig, I saw that wave, and it was so cool, and you must be stoked. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, not really. Yeah, no, it was cool. It was a cool wave, but oh man, I missed so many, and I just couldn't get it sorted out, and I'm in pain, and it just sucks, And he's like, "Yeah, but you got one, bro." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, yeah, I did get one. Yeah, no, I did get one." And so I got changed. Ben's like, "Oh, bro, leave your boards here, and when you come back, if you want to come back for another surf, just swing by." And if you want to stop for dinner, that's cool. And I'm like, oh, champion, bro. So I left all my stuff there and went up to Barnstable and had my 3-minute consultation with the surgeon. And he's like, oh, yeah, you should be right, mate. You're sweet as. Off you go. And that was that. And so that was like an hour and a half driving for not a lot. But that, it has to be done. Boxes have to be ticked. That's okay. So I go back to Ben's place, and the wind is a little bit more onshore now. The wind's swung and the tides come in a little bit more, so it's kind of a lot higher, and the swell's a little bit bigger as well. So I made the decision to don the 6.6, and I got a tail pad from the local shop and stuff, and I put that in and got my board ready, shoved some fins in it, and I was super excited hobbling down to the beach with my sore toes. It was cool. Let me grab this. Oh my days. Black chai, very nice. So kind of cruise down to the beach, and it is a lot bigger, so we're probably head high now, I reckon, with a bit of crumble. So it was looking different, but more powerful, and I thought, oh, sweet, proper opportunity to use the 6.6 because that's what it's made for. And you know what? I must have paddled for 20 waves or more, and I caught one. And my headspace was no better. I wasn't excited that I even stood up on the thing, which is not the way that I wanted it to go. I wanted it to be a super special moment, but actually I found myself just focusing on the wrong thing. So rather than focusing on the one wave or 2 or 3, I think I got maybe 3, but one was really good. I still focused on the rubbish ones that I missed, like the times that I couldn't get my leg around, the times that my hip was just going, nah, you're not doing it, the times that my foot was in the wrong place. I was looking at those and not looking at it was 3 waves that I got. And I got left and 2 right. I got a left and 2 right. And the left was just awesome. And even though I'm a natural footer, I really love a left because, you can drive really hard off the bottom because you're on your heels, and then just really pack in all of your weight off the top, or at least that's what I used to do, and I wish I was doing that. But doing it a little bit. So I did that. I had a great left where I did throw some spray, I think. I felt like it. Might have been the wind, like making a rooster tail. And then I got a couple of rights too, and that was good. And Ben, what a dude, man. He decided not to get back in the water, but he stood at the water's edge with a jacket on. Typically Ben stands there in a pair of shorts and a jacket, doesn't wear shoes or anything, and it's like getting cold, but he's in his shorts and he's happy, and he's watching me, and he's real proud, because I've seen him watch his son. So Ben's blessed, man. He's got a house that looks at the sea, so he can see everyone surfing from his living room, and I've been in his house and seen him watch his son surfing, and I know the passion that him and his wife have watching their son surf. And so when he's like, hey, listen, Craig, I'm not going to get in the water, but I'll come and watch you, I just felt blessed, man. Like, this man who's, I think, the same age as me, pretty much, exactly, who I respect, is coming down to watch me surf, and this new board, because we're both real amped about it. He's like, oh, man, I can't wait to see it go, and it's going to be this and that. And to be fair, man, it paddles really fast. Like, it just goes, you get 2 strokes in and it feels like it's hydro, and you barely have to paddle for the wave, it's a couple of scoops and boom, oh, I'm in, so it's a different mental preparation. It's really cool. So anyway, I caught my left, which I think rocked the world for me on a next level kind of thing for this injury. And then my 2 rights. And yeah, no, it was cool. But I focused on the bad bits, and I'm kind of going, why do I do that? I should be celebrating this new occasion, this like flipping new board that's just radical, and I should be celebrating that I'm in the water after 3.5 months, it was at the time, post hip surgery, which is just cool in itself. And here I am catching 3 waves out of 30, so maybe like not much percent, 10%? No, 5%? Anyway, you guys work it out. So 3 out of 30 is not a great percent. And yeah, no, it just left me a bit dejected again. So that's 2 surfs that are monumental in the same day that I struggle to focus on the positives. And I'm just thinking, what's going on? And Ben's like amped. He's super stoked for me, and we're eating dinner and we're chatting, and he's like, you must be so happy with the board. And I'm like, yeah, I am happy with the board, but man, did you see how many I missed? And he's like, nah, and that's something to think about. Hey, like, what's going on in my melon for that to rise above the awesome that has just occurred? So I was thinking about that. And all I could come up with is that I need to do something. I need to do some work on it. But that's okay. And interestingly, I went in and met with a guy that I met a while back called Steve. He lives in Newquay, and he's got a whole brand, like one-arm surfer. So he's only got one arm. So they cut off his whole shoulder, collarbone and everything, because he had like a growth in there that was not cool. And he had 2 weeks notice, which seems to be the case with amputations. They don't give you a lot of time. So my case is totally different. So I met him at the UK Surf and Skate Festival in Newquay a while back, and I kind of connected with him, and kind of got into his whole coffee thing. He sells coffee, and it's a cool lifestyle thing. And we arranged to meet up, and I went to see him for a coffee round at his place in Newquay, and we chatted, and the surf wasn't really there, so we just spent time chilling. And we spoke about a lot of things, and I'd love to speak to him at more depth. But he said something that really changed my mindset. And he said to me that he said, Craig, you need to let go of the surfer that you were. He said, you can't be that guy again. You're not going to be able to surf like that again. You have to embrace the man that you are now. You have to embrace the surfer that you are now and what that looks like. And I was just like, wow, that's coming from lived experience. That's coming from Steve's lived experience. That's coming from a deep place, And that really hit me, because like Steve was a stand-up surfer, a local guy at Tolkien, and he was a good surfer, man, like people knew him. And then he lost his arm, and he doesn't stand up surf so much anymore. He kneeboards. But he just changed what he did, and he changed how he approached the lineup. He changed his tools. He changed everything. And his attitude. Massive attitude change. And I'm wondering if that's what I need to look at too, is this attitude change, because I've made physical changes. I've gone to the gym, and I am spending a lot of time making myself ready for this amputation that's coming. And I've made other physical changes, getting surf equipment that might better suit me with, a prosthetic. So I've made these physical changes, and I'm wondering if, I've been doing work with myself and who I am and all of those things. But I wonder if there's this little bit of me that needs some work that looks at that mental change, that kind of departure from who I was, to be this new man, this new surfer. And I think that's going to be quite a journey. I believe that with my faith that I have in Jesus Christ, that He's already written a path for me. That's what I believe, and most Christians hopefully believe the same thing. So, in faith, I believe that there's a path already set out for me. My name's in the book. I've kind of signed up to the book by believing in Jesus. And then okay, my name's in the book now. What does that path look like? And I believe there's a much better path for me than I could imagine or create. And it's tapping into that and believing that. And I think in believing that, we can overcome those shadows, those dark moments, and that's what I believe. And hopefully a lot of you believe that too. And if you don't, then, I believe that there's, we talk about salvation in Christ, and there's hope, there as well. And there's salvation and there's hope, and oh man, there's no way I could make this journey without my faith in Jesus. There's just no way. I'm not strong enough. I've got so many failings, it's ridiculous. But that faith, that work that He does in me, just changes everything. It really has changed everything. And oh my days, some of the stuff that's happened to me on this journey is so supernatural that there's no other explanation. I don't think science has got an explanation for it. There's just no way. There's so many really cool supernatural things that have happened to me that you could only say that it's of Jesus, and you don't have to believe that. That's absolutely fine. But it's my lived experience, and it's like what I've seen in myself that doesn't have explanation. So in this moment where I'm focusing on the negative things and that I need to focus more on those positive outcomes and focus on what the goal is, because the goal, this whole project is started because I want to surf in a UK adaptive surf competition, and I believe that I'm going to get there. I believe that I'm going to get there in his strength, not just mine, because my strength alone isn't enough, man. There's no way. So I just wanted to share that with you. And actually, there is, like, I've got this little Bible that I'm never going to be able to read without glasses, actually. So I'm just going to get my glasses. They're right here. But on that that whole kind of journey where I believe that there's a moment, not a moment, there's just a whole path laid out for me, because that's what I believe, because I've seen so much stuff happen in my life, man. I can't argue, I can't deny it. You listen to my testimony, man. I had a conversation with God. There's no two ways about it. That's what happened. So with that, I have to believe the rest of this stuff. And I want to, and I do, and it's so cool because so many other people do as well, so we're not alone. But in Ephesians, this dude called Paul, who's like probably the most rock and roll dude in the whole Bible, apart from Jesus, but post Jesus, man, Paul's like the hardest man out there. He's the most adventurous dude. He like resonates with me. He's just radical, man. He's like, I could tell stories for ages about Paul, man. Like, he's such a cool dude. And in today's world, he would be epic, man. Like, he would be the guy that you want to know. He's like that cool guy with a beard, long hair, and tattoos, and a gun and some knives and like a big truck. He's that guy, man. He's really cool. But he wrote this, and I have to believe it. And it's Ephesians 2, verses 8 through to 10, and it says, "For by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing, but there's the gift of God, not a result of works, so that no one may boast. For we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them." And so believing that, man, like, I have to believe that there's this really cool plan for me. It's going to suit me because, I think God is a good God, and he would do things that suit me. So I have to believe that he's got all this planned out for me, and all I need to do is step into it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm stepping into it. And that's what it's all about, So my mindset needs to change. That conversation with Steve is pivotal. I need to change my mindset. I need to stop thinking about the old guy that could surf real good and hold his own in massive waves and small waves and good waves and fun waves and could ride all the different boards. I need to let go of that guy and step into this new guy, this new creation of, born again in Christ Jesus. I need to step into that guy, but also need to step into the guy that is going to surf differently on different equipment, maybe takes a slight bit longer to get to his feet and can't be as radical, but still can be relevant. So maybe I'll leave it there. Maybe I'm not as radical as I used to be, but I'm relevant in a new way. So thanks for dropping in to the 4th episode of the Amp Surfer. I look forward to hearing from you fellas with feedback. So yeah, thanks very much, and have a good week, eh? Sweet as.